One of the first mechanisms ever used in board games was dice throwing. But in the last 25 years, there's been a bit of a renaissance in how dice are used in very creative ways. This is our list of the top 10 dice throwing games on Legendary Tactics. Now, Nato, what kind of games are we going to include on this list, and which ones are not on the list?
So we're going to exclude some, I guess you'd say classic dice games like Yahtzee, Risk,
Axis and Allies,
Backgammon, those kind of things. I don't know if backgammon's a dice chuckers, but anyway. But we're going to leave those ones out. We're going to, again, focus on games that use the dice in creative ways. Now, we will still throw in a couple of dice chuckers there because we got to
okay, I was a little worried.
Do that. Yes. But anyway, well, yeah, so we'll start our list with number 10, which is one of my picks. And this is, I think, a great example of a game that uses the dice in an interesting way. Under Falling Skies by Czech Games Edition. And this is a game of alien invasion. Players, it's actually solitaire, or I guess you could play as a team.
We've played this as a duo before, and I actually really enjoyed that decision making together.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So it's one of those games where you roll the dice and kind of assign the values, and as long as they're above a certain level, you get that ability. And you have these alien ships that are coming down the board at you, and you have to shoot them into the air, like Space Invaders. Yeah, it's really Space Invaders, the board game. If I had to sum it up in a sentence, that's it. But it's a really fun game. The dice, the way that they're used, feel fresh. They got just a neat way of kind of choosing the results. And anyway, just a really neat game.
Fantastic. Well, I also have a unique game coming, and that's the Fox Experiment. So this game, I don't think you've had the chance to play this yet.
I have not tried it yet, no.
This is actually a game where the dice become gene sequencing. So
sounds fascinating.
Yeah, no kidding. So a really unique system here, where what you're trying to do is pair up different features, so whatever dice you end up rolling. So now you've created, there's fluffy tails, and there's spots on the face, and little cute barking sounds. Essentially, I think there's 4 different features that over the years, historically, and this is a real history, that as animals in this Fox Experiment bred, the ones that were friendlier exuded these traits. So it's just a way to create new generations of pups with different features and different traits, and it was just, I thought, a really unique way to use dice.
Yes. Okay. It reminds me a little bit of a game that, again, probably no one's heard of, called Genotype.
Right.
Where you roll the dice. It's similar kind of ideas. It's a genetic game as well, where you're basically creating new types of bean plants. But it sounds really dull, but actually the gameplay is really fun. And I wonder if it's similar in style.
I haven't played
to
it,
that.
but it didn't make our list, unfortunately,
it didn't make our
today.
list, unfortunately.
But I'm glad you snuck an extra one in, though.
Yeah.
Added bonus.
A little bonus for you.
It's good. Now, for those of you who have played classic dice-throwing games, you will recognize NATO's next game.
Yes, I think everyone has done had the fortune to play this game. King of Tokyo, Richard Garfield, the designer of another one of my favorite games of all time, Android Netrunner.
So different.
Came out with, and he's got another one called Bunny Kingdom as well. Very diverse designer. Anyway, King of Tokyo, again, the classic dice throwing. It doesn't have a big footprint on the table, but...
And it's Yahtzee, too, essentially, where you throw and you get your energy or your... the different the hits that you're doing, or you get health.
Victory points.
Points, and then you choose and you get 2 more re-rolls to try that.
Yes, like a Yahtzee type mechanism where you get to choose which dice you want to save, and then you roll and see what you get.
And some characters get their own special dice, like these orange ones.
Yeah. And they're hefty dice too. Like that's a heavy chunk of plastic. It's a fun game. It's quite mean. If you love those kind of games, where you get to be backstabbing each other and kind of ruining your friend's day. There is full player elimination, for example, which a lot of games shy away from. This does not, but a lot of fun, a lot of, just pure dice chucker type.
My kids love powering up with the cards on that one, so you're in the energy and buy the cards.
Pick the ones that you want to upgrade to. So you're up.
Very cool.
What's next on your list?
The next one on the list is Sky Team. Have you had the chance to play this?
I have with Cax, actually, but we played it on Board Game Arena, so we didn't have the physical
Right.
rolling of the dice.
And I think the physicality of it is really nice, especially if you get 3D printed parts to make the toggles and switches next
thank
level.
you, Gastel. You've ruined him with all this 3D printing.
So Sky Team is a game for 2 players, the captain and co-pilot, and you roll your dice and you assign your dice to various functions or controls in the plane. So it's the tilt or the speed, or sometimes there's certain values that you have to assign certain numbers to in order to make that effect happen. So it's just a neat way where you're trying to assign your dice in the most strategic way possible
Without
to land
speaking.
your plane. Right.
Yes.
You can't cheat by
Yes.
openly, because what pilot and co-pilot would ever communicate
Yeah, I know.
effectively?
They never talk to
No.
each other. They just
No, they just sit in silence with the cone of silence on them. So really neat game. Good little 2-player game if you're looking for one that involves dice for 2.
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. So now Space Base.
Yes, Space
your
Base
next
is my
game.
next one. Again, I don't actually own a physical copy of it. I played a ton of it on Board Game Arena. And that's a really neat game where you're assigning spaceships basically to different potential roles. And so, if you know anything about, rolling 2 6-sided die, you know that 7 is the most common, and then 6 and 8 are the most common after that, etc. 2 and 12 are the least common. And so you have to buy ships and kind of assign them to different spots, and you build an engine basically that gives you victory points or money or whatever. And anyway, it's a really, really neat game. It doesn't, maybe I'm not describing it
You're
particularly
describing
well,
it great. No, you are,
it's-
because I had thought I had never heard of this game, but now that you describe it, you actually played this with me online.
Oh, that's right.
You
we did have a
introduced me to
game.
this, and now that you describe it, I remember it was quite fun.
Yeah, it's a really fun little
Yeah.
game. It's easy to teach, and it's I think for new players it's fun, but it's also got enough strategy there to keep more higher level gamers engaged.
Pathetic to play a dice throwing game digitally, though.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, man.
I know.
Yeah.
But I would love to actually get a hard copy of that game. I think it'd be great.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's up next?
Next is a game that we picked up at Gen Con,
Yes.
and we actually got this one signed by the designer, and that hasn't unduly influenced me. I've enjoyed this game quite
Yes.
a bit. It's a fast, furious game. You set a timer,
Yes.
and you get various cards where you have to accomplish those missions
Yes.
in a certain amount of time, and it's you rolling dice as fast as you can.
Yes.
To try to meet the objectives. Oh, there's some cards in there. Nice. Okay,
Yes.
keep those ones hidden away. So you'll assign them, and you have to assign them
there's a
in
green
the
too.
correct order.
Perfect.
And that's right. And then if you're not able to use the dice, you throw them back in the bag
Yes.
and restart. So if you're looking for a fast, frenetic game with lots of just simple dice throwing, there's some stacking involved with some
Yeah.
of the cards. And
Yeah, and I think some dexterity. If you knock them over, I think
Right.
you lose. I can't remember. It's been a while, but I remember this being one of those kind of I don't know what they call it. What do they call it? Dark horse or whatever at Gen Con, because
Yes.
we picked it up and it was our very first Gen Con, so we didn't really know what. Hadn't heard anything about this game, but it was so much fun. I remember playing it on our stops on the way back home.
That's right,
We'd
yeah.
pull it out at the restaurant and
nice 10-minute pocket game.
yeah,
Sort of.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Fantastic.
All
Okay,
right.
that gets us to another one that we don't have in the studio.
Yeah,
but we did play this in the studio we brought a whole bunch of other creators in, and you guys were having a ball with it.
Yes, and that's Thunder Road Vendetta. And talk about chunky dice. Well, it was the one die was like this big. It was huge. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. You're just rolling to cause damage to the other cars and bump them around. And it was a really great game. But the dice were actually a feature of that game. They were, not only the size of them, but the icons and everything. It was just a really great tactile experience overall.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So normally I don't like games where it's just, what do I roll? I kill you, you die. But you guys were having a blast
Yeah,
with that.
it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's essentially a big like crash demolition derby, right?
Right.
But yeah, in board game form. So
Okay.
it was fun.
Well, my next game is about to emerge.
Oh, geez. Thanks for
Sorry.
that one.
Yeah, you're welcome. Emerge is completely different from every other game on this list. But what I love about this one is that
Your notes?
my notes on a script I was writing. Yeah, awesome.
All right.
What's fantastic about this one is that as you're rolling dice, you're trying to build an ecosystem, and you have to build from the small stuff, easy to build stuff, to the harder to build. But you can buy cards to replace the options here, so that you can double your chances of, say, getting crabs. So now 2s and 3s do that.
Yeah.
And so it's not a game just of manipulating the dice, though there is a bit of that. It's also a game of manipulating the odds. And so I thought it was a really neat way that the dice interact. So the rolls matter, and if you're not able to use all your rolls, you can cash it in for research. So there's multiple functions of the dice, and I've just really loved every gameplay of this.
And it's very peaceful, and
it is
strategic, but
and beautiful.
Peaceful and beautiful. Yeah, it's a very nice design. I really enjoyed.
Yeah, and
we should play this more. Actually, I've only played the one game with you, but that was really, or 2 games I think we played. But yeah,
for sure, not super competitive. Everybody gets a chance to fit on the board in a space, and at the end you just sort of count up who did the best job of creating their ecosystem. Yeah, it was a really, really pleasant game.
Yes, I like that. So the next game on our list is from a designer who's from our neck of the woods in Ontario, Canada. It's called Sagrada. And again, we don't have the game in studio. I've actually got the digital version, which plays really well. I think you can find it on Steam. And it's a stained glass window type theme where you're placing the dice, making these beautiful patterns, and scoring them based on how well you put that pattern together. It's a really nice one. Another peaceful game. It's a lot of fun, not only to play but also just to see, kind of the finished product.
It's nice the dice provide an aesthetic value when you're done arranging them.
Yeah, and all the colors and how. Yeah, I think it's just it's a really beautiful game, and that was noted at the time, and I think it still holds up as a game today. So absolutely. Yeah.
This brings us to our number 1 game. You haven't played this yet.
I have not.
But I'm planning on introducing this to you. So this all rests on my shoulders. If you disagree with me on this pick, I know I'm going to hear about it in the comments. There's so many great dice games out there, role player, and ones that we haven't ourselves had a chance to play and other people have talked about and said are great. But these are just our picks. And so my pick for our channel for number 1...
You got 2.
Dice Throne.
He's got 2.
Well, the interesting thing with this game is it's not really 2. It's just an extension of 1.
Oh, okay.
But
not an expansion.
I guess technically, yeah. So it's an interlocking system where you choose your character, and they all play fairly similarly, where the board has different powers that you possess, and you start with base level powers, and it's Yahtzee-esque again, where you roll your dice, same as King of Tokyo, and you can re-roll 2 of them, and then whatever combination of dice you get, you trigger that power. So this is a game that my first time playing it, I sat down and I knew just about 3 or 4 rules, and we just started playing and following the instructions, and you learn the game as you go. So it's too overwhelming to learn everything at once. So let's say you're learning Wolverine, you make your roll, you see what you end up with, and then there's one card, and it says, first you draw a card, now you inflict damage, now you do this, now you do that. So it's a really accessible game. I think where the fun comes in this is learning all the different characters and what their powers are, and the dice actually are multifunctional. And that's something else I like, is that it can be the symbol on the dice, or it can be the number on the dice. So you can do a small straight or a large straight, or you can combine symbols. And sometimes you can manipulate dice. So it'll say, move one number up by 1. So you turn a 1 into a 2, but that changes the symbol as well. So it's an interesting interactive dice game, and it's of course very thematic. Deadpool is a lot of fun, and he plays very differently from Wolverine, and so it was a really neat game where you get to play a particular character who I think is one who either captures your imagination in the series or suits your style of play. They all play very differently.
So what is your favorite dice game? Is it one of our choices or something different? Put it in the comments section below and let us know. Until next time, get out there,
get gaming,
and be legendary.